I'm chairing the meeting. My name is Jay Fenton, I'm the vice chairman. Chief Kevin Carpenter, unfortunately, is away on business and couldn't be here tonight. So Captain Reddy is sitting in there. First order of business is the approval. You'll document the presence.
I make a motion, we approved last meeting.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed, it's a vote. Public hearing. Next on the agenda, establish resident parking on Maple Street. Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
I live on Maple Street, and
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Please identify yourself.
I'm Mark Maple. I live on Maple Street, and we have difficulty parking on our side of the street as well. The other side of the street, I brought a diagram if anybody wanted to take a look. The other side of our street is dominated by three deckers that are on Milton and President, not on our street. They have driveways, garage, and 6 driveways. So it leaves literally 1 parking space on the other side of the street. And sometimes they don't even use their driveways, they park on that side of the street. And on our side of the street, we get the lead off of Milton Street and President, and it just literally makes it sometimes impossible to park on our own street. In the winter, it's worse. I'll go out there and plow, snow blow, make some spots, and you can't put a chair in it or anything like that, and they come and they park there. My daughter works at Thank Cottage Fridays. A couple of times she got home at 2 in the morning and had to park on President Street and walk home. So it's really we're just looking for some relief from the lead off of the parking from the other side of the street, and from Milton and President.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? The public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing no one wishing to speak in opposition? Okay.
I had a letter from Ward Councilor Darren Seer. Please be informed that I'm in favor of resident parking on Maple Street. If you need further information or have any questions regarding this matter, please don't hesitate to call me. And then I have one from Deputy Chief Leonard Dismaris. It is the department's opinion that limiting parking on Maple Street to Maple Street residents only will result in more serious parking issues on President Street, Milton Street, and other nearby streets. This is not a solution to the issue, as the multifamilies and resulting multi-motor vehicles on each street are not a situation that is likely to change. If the Maple Street residents are having difficulty accessing their driveways, the department would support no parking signs opposite the driveways or can address any illegally parked cars via increased parking enforcement on the street. I have one from the Director Chief Carpenter. Dear Mr. Carpenter, I reviewed the request and recommended that resident-only parking signs be placed on 5 Maple Street to Gertrude Street. The resident on any Maple Street is adequate off-street parking and does not warrant a resident-only parking sign, in my opinion. Please contact me directly should you require further information.
All right, the public hearing having been closed, and the reading of those letters into the minutes. What are the wishes?
I make the motion.
Yes.
Second. All those in favor?
Done.
Okay, those opposed? The motion is approved. Any other business on the downtown?
We have, intersection of Western Avenue to the intersection of Baker Street. And this petition was sent in by Sergeant Shinnick. Years ago, there were no parking signs there, and they did new sidewalks, and they never put back up. He did check to see if there was an ordinance for them, and he could not find anything in the ordinances, so that's why he brought it back.
So it's number 722. Advertise. Anybody second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, to vote. Advertise for next month. What else? Okay, we're going to open up the meeting next for input from the Downtown Lynn Neighborhood Association. I didn't receive any new detailed information before what's been given out tonight, but Chief Goppinger at the last meeting indicated that anyone wishing to have input could have it at tonight's meeting. I just want to make it very clear, this is not a public hearing. Okay? Any proposed changes that may result from this input will have to go through the public hearing process, which means it has to be advertised, everybody has to be notified of the specifics, and everybody will have an opportunity to come in at that time in a public hearing setting and provide either pro or con to whatever the issue may be. So I don't know, Seth, do you want to?
Sure, I'll start, and thank you, Chairman Fenn, for having us here today and allowing us this time. The list is a little long at 9 items because these things have been a long time in the making, and I appreciate the time that you're giving us today, and I understand that not everything can be addressed right away and that there's a process, and I fully understand that these things need to be posted publicly in most cases. We hope to continue these discussions. We hope that the Commission and other related parties can move on the changes necessary, not just for traffic safety and parking issues that we have today, but as downtown continues to grow residentially and commercially, we're hoping to prevent a parking crunch as well. And we're not urban planning experts. I'm definitely not. These ideas come from our experiences living, working, and parking in the downtown, and we hope to work with your expertise to perfect these ideas, or perhaps even come up with better solutions, make them workable, implement them. There's a handout of images that corresponds to some of the items on this list, and most of the items, I should say, the gist of this was covered in a letter that went out March 11th to Mary Wright as an email attachment. The wording on this 9-item list is a little different, but these issues were alluded to in that letter, and I see a copy is available. Let me go through this quickly just so that everybody in the room can hear it. These folks are from the downtown over here. And this is not in priority order, I should add. But one of our bigger priorities is the elimination of zone parking. Currently, from what we understand, If a zone is 1 hour, you cannot park there for more than 1 hour in an entire day or an entire 24-hour period. The way I understand it, and if I could be corrected, that would be good news. If you park for 20 minutes at 9 a.m. and return to park at 1 p.m. For an additional while, you can still be ticketed for a total of an hour. We feel that this hurts some types of businesses, especially the people who have doubled down their investment on the downtown with both their residents and their business in the same neighborhood. It hurts realtors, it hurts art galleries with separate workshops where you have to go back and forth during the day. And it can hurt residents who are just running quick errands multiple times a day, but not really abusing the system. So we would like to see zone parking, as I believe it's called, eliminated. 2, the existing parking signage. We'd like it to indicate the days and hours that they're in effect right on the signs. Many of, or I should say most of the signs in the downtown area do not indicate this. There are images available, examples of a sign on Market Street and one from another city that is more along the lines of what we'd like to see for the sake of visitors from out of town who may not know the hours and days that they're in effect, for the sake of businesses that are constantly asked this question by their patrons. It's Saturday, they're going into Zimmons. Do I have to move my car and when? Now, there's Monroe Street, the only street that we're going to mention separately from the others. They have a unique situation. There's an idea here. It may not be the one that ultimately solves the problem, but we have residents, businesses, churches on a very short, narrow street. Sundays are extremely difficult. We don't want to single anybody out, but we want to work on a solution. And one idea is to have a 15-minute zone, in effect even on Sundays, for parents with kids, and there are parents living on Monroe Street, for people who've done their Sunday grocery shopping, just to be able to unload. Then they can move their car around the corner or around the next block. But presently, it's a very dangerous situation because they have to double park on a narrow street just to unload the groceries and bring the kids inside sometimes. Because Sundays, especially in the morning, is a real parking crunch on Monroe Street. 4, we have some commercial loading zones. I understand their purpose, and I even agree with having it. But they're not used constantly. So we're thinking about changing the 24/7 loading zones potentially to whether it be Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday, a given time in the morning to a given time in the evening. This would free them up on weekends and Sundays and help us deal with some of our Sunday parking issues. It would help family members and relatives come and visit us. And also with those zones, spotty enforcement in the past, they were not always enforced, led to some confusion. You know, I haven't been ticketed here in a year, why am I being ticketed now? So some consistency with those signs and the other signs also would go a long way to clearing up some of the issues and confusion that we've had. 5, street sweeping enforcement. I'm glad that that's been stepped up actually because our streets really need it. And for the most part, we've been cooperating with alternate side street sweeping. And also, I'd really like to thank this board for the role you played in eliminating Saturdays from the original, when they were originally posted a couple years ago. But I think for the most part, we're behind that. We cooperate. I've slipped up on a couple of occasions, but when I do, it's my fault, and I pay the ticket. Crosswalks, there are pictures of missing crosswalks in very critical areas. There's an elderly daycare facility on Exchange Street. Lynn Arts is going to be hosting kids programs over the spring break. And there's no crosswalks by Exchange and Spring Streets. There are also crosswalks that are well worn out. The pictures are there for you to see. And that's about it. Now, I don't want to be the only one talking, and this is kind of a distillation of issues, so if anybody, through the chair, if it's okay if anybody else speaks.
I'm assuming everybody that's here is here for this reason.
Yep, that's correct.
Jay?
Huh?
No, I'm just sitting here to see what everyone else wants to.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to?
If I may.
Sure, please identify yourself.
My name is Mark Miller. I live at 54 Central Square, apartment 4B. That's the top floor of the old Keith building. Thanks. I always forgot where I live. I have an unobstructed view of Washington Street, the section between effectively Monroe and Union. And one of the items on this list is actually speeding. And I just like to bring to light, I'm sure the officer at the table can definitely confirm this, is that there is a lot of racing on that street at night, usually late. Lots of cars, lowrider, you see it on TV, you name it, they're there. I see them. I've got 8-foot windows, there's no way I can miss that street at night. They have their stereo jacked up, and they blow down the street with their unmuffled exhaust. You can imagine this makes getting a good night's sleep a little difficult, especially when you have to work double shifts the next day. If there's anything that could be done to help that situation as highlighted in this document, I'm sure the residents of my building and the other residents of that area would greatly appreciate it. Especially since they don't just go down that street, they come around and go through Central Square too. And we have essentially a retirement home at the corner. Usually they're asleep, but there's no issue, but when there's an ambulance go by, I make an effort to slow down, but some of them just blast by. But this is our home. All we're asking are for some new lines on the street for the crosswalks, a few new signs that actually are a little more clear. We've got some beaten up ones where the gangs actually put some graffiti on them, like those ripped out and replaced, because they tagged them and they marked it as their territory. If we can just get those sorted out and speed them up here and there, I'm sure it would make our lives a lot less stressful, because it's been kind of tough ever since the recession, as you probably are aware. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
George Harrell, I live right here at 589 Essex Street.
Uh-huh.
I want to reiterate things that Seth had mentioned. I agree with those, especially the crosswalk that's not, it's basically missing over near the Lynn Arts. I sometimes miss that stop sign there as well. Well, almost miss it. It screeched to a stop at that area. So I think that definitely, that corner there, I don't know, Exchange and Spring. Yeah, that one is, I think it's a pretty dangerous one, and just as Seth said with the events that go on over there. I live right next to Ernie's, the new Ernie's Harvest Time was just opened today, yay. I'm very happy about that. I know they had asked for some 20-minute parking on Johnson Street at that corner, and they were told that, I guess, show the need for it. I just came from speaking with Ernie. I know he said that even, today may have been, it was his first day, and I know they did the ribbon cutting and things, but he said that he's already seen a need for it, and he would love to just impress that again, that he would love to have some 20-minute parking, which I think would help alleviate some other extra parking on that street for people that live there, people that go to the courthouse, if you have some 20-minute parking for people that just want to go to Ernie's. So I think that would be great. The other thing is that corner at Johnson and Essex Street. I know I just got a message from somebody in my building today that got a ticket there yesterday. That corner, basically where Ernie's parking lot is, so on Essex Street, right before you get to Johnson, before you get over to where the City Hall is, there's not, it looks like there's enough room for a car, but they do, at least now they are ticketing. I don't know if they have in the past, but they are now ticketing, because if you do park any size, regular size car there, you are too close to the the curb, and it's illegal to park there. So I know I've seen in other places, it'd be great to have a sign, maybe no parking here to curb or whatever that sign says. So I think that would be useful as well. And just with Ernie's Harvest Time there, which I'm very happy about, any kind of help with the parking over there would be great. Thanks.
Anybody else?
I'm Terry Felici, I live in the Boston Machine Lofts. Something George brought up just reminded me of something. On the Buffum lot, the street, Buffum Street, people park too close to the entrance and exits of those, and you cannot see what is coming down the street. Like, there should be like a no parking zone close to I think it's the entrance, so that you can actually see the traffic coming down Buffum, because I've almost gotten T-boned a couple of times there. So I appreciate that, thank you.
Just to be clear, you're talking about exiting the lot?
It's I think it's more on the entrance to Buffum lot.
Either way.
People are parking way too close to the entrance, and you cannot see around them to see the traffic coming down the street.
Excuse me, what is your last name?
Oh, it's Felici, Faulisi.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Sorry that I was a little late getting out of work. The two things I wanted to bring up is the zone issue. I'm sure it's already been talked about, but I just wanted to echo it. I'm a resident down here. I do a lot in the Central Square area with the Arts After Hours theater work I do. And a lot of the times when we're going around and about downtown, we're getting ticketed because our car was maybe at my house at Sloan in the morning, and now it's over in Central Square, parked just for a little bit for me to run into the theater. Because of this zone thing, sometimes we're getting tagged for that. Also, the patrons that are coming to the theater are often confused. So the signage issues, the 2 hours when it's enforceable. You know, our shows are 3 hours long, they're on the weekends. We tell all the patrons, don't worry about it, but they're confused, and it just adds to the experience coming downtown. I'm sure the restaurants are dealing with it as well, that people are confused on how to do business here. So better signage with dates and times on all the signs when it's going to be enforced.
When you said the zoning, and you said you park at your house and then you move downtown, those are two separate zones. Did I misunderstand you, or are you saying?
I can't remember the specific parts where, I call this my Downtown Lynn tax. If you go through all my tickets, I'm sure you'll find many that have happened where I've been one place in Downtown Lynn when you saw me first, and another place when you gave me the ticket. And it's because I drive around Downtown Lynn and do various things. I try to shop locally. I try to make sure the theater shops locally. So I might be on Monroe and then I'm on Oxford. I might be on in Central Square and then I'm on at 23 Central or 20 Central. So it happens a lot, and enough that I have a term for it called my Downtown Lynn tax.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah. It's 589 Essex Street.
I just want to respond quickly to a few of the enforcement issues.
We're going to respond to all of these, but I don't want to get on the.
Hi, I'm Ken Coder. I'm at 70 Exchange Street, number 203. I've witnessed multiple near misses, or near hits, I guess would be the proper term. People blowing through the stop signs again on Spring Exchange and Mount Vernon. As well as 2 weeks ago, we had a guy come down from Broad onto Exchange. He was speeding, and he hit the light post right in front of our building and flipped his truck. Luckily, it was Sunday and nobody was there, but just, you know, hopefully we can do something about the speeding as well, like Mark had mentioned. I think that's pretty much just getting those crosswalks painted and making the stop signs obvious would be a huge help.
I'm Carol Montero, and I'm a relatively new resident of Lynn, having moved here from Plymouth in going from a suburban to an urban area, but I live at 24 Mount Vernon Street, and I'd like to second that. I have to leave each morning and go out to Mount Vernon and that intersection, and since they repaved the streets, one, the crossroads have not been repainted in there, and two, it just doesn't seem to be a very popular area that people feel they need to stop at. So leaving there on a daily basis in the morning exit to go to work, I've seen quite an experience myself, quite a lot of near misses.
Anyone else? Okay, as Seth said, there are a number of issues here. They're not all going to be addressed by any stretch of the imagination tonight. I think the most critical thing relative to any of these is that the dialogue continue, and you give this committee the opportunity to do what it needs to do to get to a point to ask for a public hearing with some specifics. And as I said earlier, when that happens, you will, plus anyone else downtown, whether it's merchants or anyone else in the community, will have the opportunity to come in and either support it or not support it. And at that point, the committee, if it so chooses, will vote on whatever the issue is. To try to couple all of these together, it's not going to work, and if there's any chance of accomplishing what you've got listed on this piece of paper, it would be inappropriate to do it that way. There's a couple of things immediately on here that we can address. One, I think, can be addressed by Captain Reddy relative to the enforcement issues, and that's not requiring any kind of a change. And the other one is the issue of the crosswalks, and I don't want to put the DPW on the spot, but JT and Lisa are here tonight, and I would ask them to give us comments.
Yeah, this is in line with what we're planning on doing for work this summer. We just had a bid opening for line striping, contract line striping, and we've set aside funds, about Chapter 9 funds that we get from the state to do a good portion of the crosswalks and line striping needed on the roads.
Okay, so have any kind of, again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, do you have any kind of time frame in terms of?
Time for contract is, the contract has been selected, just the letter went out today to the purchasing department. We will likely start doing striping in June or July. We'll be doing some road paving also, and we'll get the striping contractor in, so after we put the new paving down, and then we'll put the stripes down. But certainly we can address some of these existing ones that are this bad earlier, so we can make an effort to do that, so.
Can I see a number? Mount Vernon Exchange, there was not a crosswalk there that we're including that, right?
Yes.
Can I ask a question, just clarification around that intersection? It's a four-way stop, and it seems as though people either don't. I've seen two cars come from each direction as opposed to one in, one out, whatever. And is it possible to add signage that says four-way stop? Does that make it just seems as though people don't know how to get to that intersection, and it's kind of like everybody gets there and says, well, I'm gonna get there first, and whereas it seems to me that the signage that says four-way stop makes people understand each one goes in, goes through it at a particular time, and that just seems to be very problematic, and I just wondered if that signage